We all have those stages, right, that are just, for whatever reason, they drive us crazy. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about the most difficult stages of all time, stages that are universally agreed upon as being the hardest in retro gaming history. Not necessarily talking about those. No, I'm talking about games and stages that, for whatever reason, you just have a hard time with. So I'm going to go over the stages that I, from a personal standpoint, just for whatever reason, I just can't get past, or they're extremely difficult for me to get past, and have always just irritated me and made me want to take the controller, rip it in half, and put it in a meat grinder. These are those stages. You hear the birds? The birds are trying to get in on this. That's what I get for having a tree outside my house. No, Ninja Gaiden, stage 3-1. It's not that hard.
Oh, it's Friday night. Don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I could sit here and pick my nose while I watch a brand new video. Whoa. Top 5 Friday tonight.
First up on the list is one of my favorite games of all time, and that's Pilot Wings. Now, for the most part, this game is extremely easy. The very last stage of this game will make you pull your hair out. Now, through the whole game, you have been training, doing all these flying and parachuting, all these things to kind of train you for what's going to happen, and that is this rescue mission. You have to take this chopper and rescue a bunch of soldiers, and you have anti-aircraft ballistic, well, they're not really anything other than these orange dots, but they will kill you instantly. And you got to dodge all these things, destroy the anti-aircraft shooting thingies, and rescue the hostages or soldiers or whatever they're supposed to be, and then get the hell out of there. Easier said than done. Now, this isn't necessarily difficult, so to speak. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but one false move and you are toast. It's like walking a tightrope. It is frustrating. You could go and you could try again and again and again and again and again, and you could just get blown up just by some stray dot that you just didn't see coming because you turned the wrong way. You know, I beat it several times as a kid, and I can still beat it, but it's still frustrating, but it's frustrating but fun at the same time. And I guess that's all you can ask for. There's nothing worse than a frustrating stage where you just want to get past it and never, ever, ever in a million years ever play it again. But this isn't one of those stages, at least it isn't for me anyway, where I can die in it and I still want to come back for more. Still doesn't take away from the fact that it's still one of the most hair-pulling stages, frustrating stages that I ever played. Now, you want to talk about nerve-wracking? This is nerve-wracking. You get all the way to the end of Super Mario Bros. 3. You get to the Bowser's World. Now, there's a lot of hard stages in this realm, but none, in my opinion, compare to the one where you're having to jump on each of these air tanks. I don't know what you would call them other than air tanks. They're tanks that fly in the air. And you got to jump from one to the next to the next. This stage, as a kid, drove me insane. It was, now the stages before that were difficult, but you could figure out ways to get past it. You know, the one that was the ships, you go underneath the water. Found that out pretty quickly that you could do that. This one, your only chance was to save a P-wing and fly above the whole thing. Now, you could still screw up even with the P-wing, because if you didn't keep that button going and you let yourself dip, you could get hit by one of those wrenches or whatever they are spinning around to annihilate you, and you would die that way. But this, if you didn't have the P-wing in this stage, it was so difficult to get past, and it was nerve-wracking to say the least, and frustrating to say the least. That's definitely one of those stages where once you get past it, you take your rag and you take the beads of sweat and you wipe them off. You take your hands, you clean them off, you maybe go into the kitchen, get some pizza rolls, get some cream soda, take a little bit of a break, take a little bit of a breather, and then you just continue on and hope that you never have to go back to that stage ever again. Next on my list is kind of a cliche, or a lot of people are going to be like, I knew this stage was going to be on this list. But no, it comes with a caveat, okay? That's Battletoads, the Turbo Tunnel. Now let me just kind of explain myself here. Now, I don't think that overall the Turbo Tunnel is overly difficult. I had some trouble with this stage as a kid, and I still do today, but it's at a certain point. It's at a certain part of it. For whatever. It's frustrating me now just thinking about it, because I had to play this. I had to play this stage as I was recording this footage while the Retron 5 was working. So there's this point where you have to jump. And before that, all the jumping was done by just hitting the ramp. That's all you do is hit the ramp. But on these, there's these platforms that you have to jump onto as you're speeding along. And this is probably 2/3 of the way through the level. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I got past that point a couple times as a kid. Still don't know how I did it. It had to have been luck. Rarely have I ever seen what stage is after this. Now, I realize that most of the game is much more difficult than the Turbo Tunnel itself. And like I said, I don't find it hard at all up to that point. Like, I can get through it probably usually on my first try up to that point. And then even after that, when it gets really super fast, it's just all about reactions. I don't know what to do to get past this point, though. It's not simple jumping. I don't know what it is. I've been told what to do. I've seen videos on what to do, but every time I try it, it does not work for me. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. No matter what I do, it just doesn't work for me. So every time I put in Battletoads, I know for a fact that that's where it's going to end. I'm not going to go any further. So it kind of takes the fun out of it. Now, I still like the game. It's still one of my favorite games for some reason. All right, so we're going to, for number 2, tag and pick on one of my other favorite games on the Super Nintendo, and that is UN Squadron. As a kid, I would play this game over and over and over and over again, and I would get really, really good at it up until the second to the last level, where I would proceed to get my ass handed to me. There is so much going on in that level. And you have to have all these different weapons, and you have to switch back and forth and hit some enemies with certain weapons, and other enemies, it's best to go in with a different weapon. Rarely have I seen the last level. And when I have seen the last level, the last level where it's just basically a boss, not really a level, it's a boss. I don't think I've died more than a couple of times ever beating that boss, the final boss. It's really easy for me. But the second to the last level, or the level leading up to that last boss, is brutal. Absolutely brutal. On to number 1. Now, I absolutely love this game, have a lot of nostalgia for it, but there's a good reason why it's on number 1. And I've never pulled my hair out and been as frustrated with any game level more so than this one. And that's the Technodrome stage in the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES. Now, I don't mean the actual Technodrome itself, because it's easy to get past that. You just got to get the Ninja Scrolls. Problem with that is, usually once I get to that point, I only have one turtle left that has Ninja Scrolls. But once I'm inside the Technodrome, that last bit of the game is impossible to me. Now, if I have the scrolls, if I happen to have the scrolls, I can get somewhat far, but I inevitably always run out of the scrolls, and I'm left to defend myself with just the regular weapons, and that doesn't work out at all. I get my ass handed to me. This level is the gaming bane of my gaming life. It's just not. I can't do it, man. I just can't do it. And it sucks. It sucks because I've never beat the game. I've never officially, truly beat the game. One time I wanted to at least get to Shredder, so I cheated and I resorted to using save states. I had to use save states. I resorted to using save states because I just couldn't do it any other way. I knew I wasn't. I had to. I had to see what Shredder was like. I mean, I've seen him in magazines and all that, and walkthroughs. I knew what but I've never actually played against them firsthand. I had to see what it was like. And that's the only way I've been cheating. It was the only way I was able to get to them. Couldn't do it. And it sucks. It sucks knowing that I'll probably never. No, you know what? I'll eventually get past that stage. But I've never beat the game legitimately, sitting down with an actual cart and doing it for real. And trust me, I've played this game my entire life, ish. At least until like 89 or whatever when it came out. Yeah, I've been playing it since that long. That was one of the games that I owned. We rented most of our games. I didn't own very many. I owned Mario 3, Air Fortress, RoboCop 2 at some point, and Turtles. And Turtles 2. So I had plenty of time to play this thing and get good at it. I never got good at it though, that's the problem.